Don't allow people to come here and tell you what to do. Shouting at you on what needs to be done, you're not foolish. And don't allow people to make you look stupid, always trying to lecture you. You're the ones who know what you want, peace and unity, and that your money is used in a way that benefits you. I'll come back so that we discuss these issues. We're getting to a place where we will say enough is enough. We are tired. Before the BBI report was unveiled, they were for a whole month loitering, telling us a lot of things. Now that the report is out, they have changed to another direction and telling us other things. These are people who have no direction. I speak with anger because every other morning these people are just engaging in empty rhetoric. Instead of building you a hospital like this, they are loitering in political rallies, telling us what will happen in 2022. No one is foolish here to be lectured. We wake up very early on election day, and when that day comes, only God and you voters know who will be elected. They should stop bothering us. They see me silent and think I am dumb or unaware of what is happening. I know everything that is happening. And when that time comes, I know who has the final say, and it is not those who are shouting loudest now. That time I will be with you and we will make a decision on what will happen.
All right, that's the president speaking in his mother tongue, or father tongue. And he makes quite a...
you have to bring the father. Yes.
But I want to begin with you, Honorable Okello. Even before you get to the content, I mean, what is happening? Why is the president having to turn to his vernacular?
Well, before then, you allowed me to finish a little statement. When my brother Cherargei was talking about politicization of Sonko's arrest and arraignment before court, I thought he was going to juxtapose that statement together with the situation on the ground. And he didn't do that. So meaning it was hollow, as always. But now let me come back to what the president has resorted to. It is true that there's a lot of interference with the current politics. When the president met the prime minister on the 9th of March 2018, a section of the political divide that was not invited into the meeting took real issues with that, and they started fighting the handshake on day one, and that has continued to this day. There are people who thought that their participatory role was going to be imminent in that particular meeting. And therefore, leaving them out has created furor and anger over that. And you know, we have seen consistently fights from my friends divide, castigating day in, day out, the handshake, calling us wakoras, calling us people who have come to meddle with their affairs. And the affairs they're talking about was majorly squandering public money. So when the prime minister came in and the president got a new boost to fight corruption, that therefore becomes a great danger to those who survive by corrupt dealings. Now, just as the president has ably said in his mother tongue, and when he speaks in his mother tongue, he's talking to the constituency that has propelled him to be who he is today. Kenyan politics and politics all over the world is local, and you have to firstly make that political base before you jump into the national limelight. And President Uhuru Kenyatta has realized that there are people from his bedrock who are pulling the opposite direction. And he thinks it is high time that he stopped that kind of confusion so that they can pull towards one direction. Even though it was his personal decision to reach out to the Prime Minister for the common good of the country, his people, and I mean where he comes from, eventually benefited the more because you have most of them doing businesses in Nairobi and in every part of this country whose businesses could not thrive as a result of violence meted on them. And every electoral cycle we have been subjected to this kind of wars. So Uhuru Kenyatta then retreats to his backyard to persuade his people to apply brakes on this kind of interference so that they can speak as one unitary voice.
Right. And Senator Cherargei, he has a very good point there in terms of how he has painted an image of Kenya's political wounds from the past, the violence, the post-election violence and etc. Will BBI be the magic wound, rather, to cure Kenya's political problems?
That's not the truth.
So you don't believe BBI will be curing
I
Kenya's
don't believe, because one, I have heard him saying handshake has been fought. But I think he's becoming selective amnesia, because you saw in Busia, Governor Joho said that as a deputy party leader of ODM, said that he was told by the Prime Minister, his party leader, that he needs to fight the deputy president. So from the day one, the president meant well. And I want to correct this. The President Uhuru Kenyatta is the president of the Republic of Kenya. Is not the leader of Mount Kenya or not, or so. So when Joho made those remarks, and you have those footages from Busia when they were in a fundraiser, that the handshake was supposed to be between, it should be exclusive. You know, when I hear this guy saying about inclusivity, I always wonder, because Governor Joho said it should be exclusive between Prime Minister and President Uhuru Kenyatta, and they should fight the deputy president. And that is why some of us, I was the first person to criticize the way handshake was. Because if you look at the 9 points, on the issue of inclusivity, you don't need to create more seats at the top for people to feel included. On the issue of corruption, the issue of corruption is that we need to ensure that the DPP takes prima facie case before a court of law. On the issue of economy or shared prosperity, we should be at least ensuring that and I heard the president speaking yesterday at the ACP, we should stop relying on raw products. We should now create issues of manufacturing as provided by the Fit for agenda. On the issue of national values, because there were 9 points, the Article 10 of the Constitution calls about national values, principles of good governance. These are things that are already in the Constitution. And I agree with Mother Karua by saying that let us first fully implement this constitution the way it is. This issue of, Raila have been having a way on how to survive politically, and I appreciate that he's a very sharp politician,
Senator,
because he's using now the BBI. Now let me finish my trail of that, because the BBI is trying to strategically position himself to run for 2022.
How so?
Now, for 2022, of course, for political relevance, because now the circulation.
How is the BBI
of course, because if you look at the BBI report, in its sense, it is just a proposal that if it is implemented within the Constitution, it should be done so. But if you are now bringing, because you have seen these guys are saying, no, we don't want parliamentary initiative, we must go to the people, let the people decide. It's because they want to now bring the campaign mood that can propel them to 2022. But on Friday, we met as a Rift Valley leaders, and I want to make this position because the BBI report, we made very serious directions on the BBI. One is that we will support the decision of Kenyans where they say we either go for referendum or we go for the parliamentary initiative. Two is that as a region, we will be focusing, if this BBI comes to fruition, we'll be focusing mainly on issues of agriculture, on the issues of prices of tea, maize, the opportunities for the young people, the sugar cane. This Rift Valley region, the leaders that we met in
from the Mount Kenya region.
Yeah, so. Naivasha, when we met in Naivasha on Friday, the Rift Valley region, from all the way from here, Kajiado to Trans Nzoia. And we said number 3 is that the president's decision to either form a committee or not in 2020, January, as he has said, as his party members, we are absolutely supporting him to ensure that he presents that committee.
Let's delve into what the president is saying, although he's spoken.
But I don't understand
in his it don't worry to be translated.
Okay. Maybe Jared understands, because I've seen him.
So in that translation, he would appear to be speaking against those people who've been moving around, telling the people that this has not been done, and then he's asking the citizenry, what have they built for you? You should listen to them if they're building anything. What is this campaign mode, or what is this political rallies that you hear of people going around speaking? And now he's already speaking against the Batina mother tongue. I don't know whether he's talking about Senator Cherargei and his team, but what is this?
But why is the presumption that he's talking about my team?
I said I don't know.
It could be any team.
Firstly, from the outset, let me make it clear that I'm not bound by political statements made by my deputy party leader, Governor Joho.
So you are disassociating yourself?
100%, in Busia or otherwise.
Beautiful.
I sit in the ODM National Executive Council as a member in charge of very serious matters. And each time we meet as the top organ of the party, we make a communique to the public, and that is what is binding, not what Cherargei. This guy has spoken worse things out there, in fact, some of which have landed him in jail severally. So
on BBI or not?
No, I mean, you're always in jail, including last week.
You're not aware when you're in court?
Yes, I'm not aware.
Okay, all right. That's not the topic here. Carry on, Honorable.
Yeah, but you know, the president is getting jittery. He's getting jittery to the effect that, firstly, he would want to leave a legacy. And legacy is built around two things. One is unity of a nation. And number two, real development to the people on the ground. Now, the president did set his 4 points agenda, or agenda items, that he would want to pursue as a way of leaving a legacy for posterity. And I think on the unity of a nation, he is trying. He's trying. Outside a few who are trying to pull the opposite direction, he is using every available resource within his disposal to bring this nation together so that we can reason and work with great unity.
On the ground, that's not the case. Kenyans are tired of him being jittery. Kenyans are tired of him trying. Kenyans want him to do.
Yes, so he's geared towards his legacy. And you know, when your legacy is being torn apart by a people you perhaps initially gave a lot of prominence and recognition
and promises
and actually made some of them your deputy.
Who's tearing that apart?
Well, Tanga team is tearing it apart because the president says, why can't we rest these issues of 2022? Why can't we confine politics to some corner and focus majorly on uniting this country and building this country? And that is why he's saying it would have served better if they were building stuff like the hospital behind us, you know. So, but these people, day in, day out, they are pulling opposite direction. And he has properly alluded to what we have always thought. Their main problem is that by Raila working closely with Uhuru Kenyatta, they are going to be denied the opportunity to ascend to presidency and hence shatter the dreams of Kenyans by squandering public resources.
Do you know whether Raila Odinga will run in 2022?
He has not said that, and I only talk when he speaks.
Do you think, you think he will?
No, I don't speak for him.
Okay, all right. Let's listen to what the leaders within the Jubilee Party have been saying as far as the BBI report is concerned. Some of them have been gravitating towards convergence and consent. Let's listen.
Mimi nashangaa. Juzi tulizindua hii kitu inaitwa BBI. Hata haikumaliza weekend tukasema watu wakasome. Sasa wajuaji wanazunguka kila pahali wakituambia ati vile tutafanya. Nemasie na kou.
Njia ya kutibu manunguniko sio makasiriko. Sio sawa? So hii BBI by 31st of March, Mheshimiwa Makamu wa Rais, tukue tumemalizana na hii story.
Hii maneno mingi, kuna watu wengine wanafikiria kwamba wanataka kutumia BBI ati kugawanya Wakenya. Wakenya saa hizi, siku hizi wako rada, wako chonjo, wako na network. Wanajua kina nani wa kufanya kazi, kina nani wa makelele na kugawanya wengine.
Hatuna shida kamwe na hiyo BBI. Lakini wale watu ambao wamezingira rais wetu wanamuonyesha ati sisi hatumpendi.
Sisi tumesema kama referendum pale makwenda tunaenda hapo. Kama ni mambo ya kupitisha kwa bunge tuko hapo. Kama ni kuongeza viti tutakuwa hapo. Kama ni kupunguza mzigo tutapunguza. We will be wherever Kenyans want us to be.
And since this initiative was intended to unite the country and not polarize it further, our support for the document is hereby guaranteed.
Ile njia yoyote itatumika itumike. Hata kama ni ya referendum ama ya njia yoyote ya bunge itumike, bora mambo ya kusaidia wananchi iwe pale katika BBI.
So those are the leaders. Majority of them, actually all of them, come from the Jubilee Party, I believe, or they're affiliated to that. But still, it's consent, but it has several words that have been put to it, including tunajua watu Wakenya wako rada, wanajua watu wa makelele na watu wa kufanya kazi. The president is saying there are people who come here, they do not work, they just want to politic for about 2022. Who's fooling who?
Oh, let me pick it from there. There was a sugar report that came before the National Assembly. Unfortunately, I was out of the country, and word went round that members of parliament were given 10,000. Yeah, just as he says. Word went round that each member of parliament received 10,000 shillings, and that marked the death of the sugar report, which had very good recommendations on how to move forward as a country. Sugar not laced with aflatoxin and other mercury and other, very injurious elements. So that was then. Now, when the BBI, which was not supported by the team, spearheaded by his boss, right from the time that the BBI team was composed, they have been fighting it day in, day out. Now, when the report was released, they moved in to firstly accept it. And when, and I want to be a little bit of a family person now, when you're quarreling every day with your spouse, but one day, even without making any positive move, she tries to embrace you so much, then there is something. Okay? Now, this is what they had intended to do, which my friend will not accept. They wanted this thing to go parliamentary, so that, picking from the sugar thing, they were going to, they have some little resources, I don't know from where. They were going to compromise members of parliament to kill that BBI at that point, and hence shatter the dreams of Kenyans, so which are encapsulated in that BBI.
At the end of the day, then BBI, which is supposed to, yes, it has its key point agendas, but at the end of the day, it has stemmed from the handshake, which was meant for, unifying the country.
Yeah, right.
So will BBI rather split the country or unify at the end of the day?
Well, I was just giving you their game plan, was to kill it at that point. Because at the end of the day, and my brother has said very ably here, that BBI is meant to propel the Prime Minister to become the next President of the Republic of Kenya. And therefore, anything that has potential to curtail the benefits of BBI will be, will be in their corner. So basically what they are doing now, the Speaker of the National Assembly, who must verify and authenticate and, give a nod to any bill that comes before the House, or motion or petition or anything, he has categorically stated that this does not fall under the purview of National Assembly. Now that they do not have a recourse, they are saying, okay, because we have been blocked from this point, let us now embrace this so that they can start serious campaigns by punching holes on the BBI report. And just like what they did in 2005 when we were embracing a new constitutional dispensation, they were on the other side. And that is basically what they're trying to do. But
Honorable Jared, if our own politicians, if our own political leaders are split about BBI, Kenyans are the ones who are going to be unified.
The intent and purpose of BBI by the top principals, President and the Prime Minister, was to embrace this country and make it one.
Yes.
Now, because they have misread the president, and they usually misread the president, I don't know how he became their party leader if they can't read his lips. The president is trying to say, let us unite this country. 2022 will eventually come and go, but the country will remain with us. But to them, the mere fact that that is a deterrent to Deputy President Ruto ascending to presidency has shrouded everything that they cannot see beyond you. They're only seeing Raila as the block against penetrating into State House. So that is why all these noises, including sponsoring some in Naivasha, where were you the other time? They're all over this country.
Yes.
Punching holes on BBI even before they read it. It's a 156-page document.
And Senator, even as we're giving you your right of reply very quickly, do you believe that the Prime Minister seat, if it was to be brought back, that it will be give Kenya a sense of political balance?
I want, and his speaker, it seems he has been busy on the ground. His speaker replied that the BBI is a proposal. It does not meet the standard of motion and bill before it comes to Parliament. So the speaker has already corrected and he issued a press conference. On the issue of legacy, and I can tell you, President Uhuru is our party leader, and we know it's not about raiding him. We have made him party leader and the president. they should be careful because they have failed to make their party leader president. On the issue of legacy or the Big Four agenda, before I come to the Prime Minister's question,
yes.
In fact, what I would have expected, and this is very interesting, is that by the fact they were handshake by the former Prime Minister, if he didn't have political interest, they would have assisted President Uhuru to deliver on the Big Four agenda. Now, no one is no longer talking in this country about the Big Four agenda.
Why are you not
we are talking about the BBI. We are talking about the BBI because the person who came through the handshake, former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, has brought a confusion in their house. And you know, he is a master of such. He's a master of confusion, and he has succeeded in doing that. Because now the president no longer, the president now and the government, we are now running to
Senator,
the BBI report.
We need to take a break.
And then finally, on the issue of Prime Minister.
Talking about the Big Four agenda, which is of the Jubilee Party.
No, that is why if you can even remove my footage that we have insisted and be saying, let us concentrate on the Big Four agenda. But these people have told us the BBI report is much more important than the Big Four agenda.
Okay.
On the Prime Minister's issue, on the Prime Minister, the way it is okay because we are borrowed on Tanzanian model. I don't know because these people have failed to get elected. They want to use other means of becoming a Prime Minister. But you know, Jared
what
should
stops
be
them from talking about the agenda
you
for
are
items?
talking,
Nothing
Jared
did not join Uhuru to talk about agenda 4. Raila joined Uhuru so that they can unite this country under BBI. Not agenda 4. Agenda 4, let them talk about agenda 4. We have given them time to talk about agenda 4.
Because I had Jared in silence. I was, by the way, I was calm when he was talking.
Yes, you are.
Can I finish answering now?
You are talking and nobody hears you. So we take a break. When we return, we'll be taking the final remarks as well as the feedback from Twitter as well as an SMS line 22422. We'll be sure to get that. So meanwhile, you can exchange those few words after the break.
Because I had him in silence.